What's he looking for?
Just always want to check that make sure he's breathing.
Of course he's breathing. He's got his little lucky reindeer hat.
Look how cute his outfit.
What's that?
It's Angelo's clothes.
Oh, is it?
All of his clothes are Angelo's clothes.
Thanks, Uncle Jeff.
Thanks, Uncle Jeff.
Are we already on?
I think so. I'm testing the way we look. I think we didn't pass.
We'll edit this. Are you ready to jump into this beastie boy?
So.
What? What do you got there?
Oh, nothing. Group texting my family.
Oh, yeah?
The only people that text me.
And are they sending more like cowboy and 70s pictures?
Oh my gosh.
Could you fly that picture in of you like, and your dad with a little bandana? Your dad looks so cool.
With his vest. It's awesome, right?
I'm just confused by the whole format. Is it 60s or is it cowboys?
It's 70s.
So, but where does the cowboy part come in?
I think that was the only outfit I had, and we were like, I think my dad was like, I've got this vest. Is it
would it be like?
It's kind of like 70s vest. You know how
yeah.
like wore that
but
stuff?
the bandana, like that's 80s. You got to go Def Leppard for the bandana. So hopefully you guys like.
This was the father-daughter dance.
Aww.
These are all the friends we went every year.
Oh, that's really cool.
And so she was 50s. They did 60s,
Yeah.
70s. Larissa was wearing like a strapless, 80s. My friend Britt was in 90s.
And did you fall down the stairs? Is that why you're not there?
No, I'm right here.
Oh, that's you?
Yes.
Oh, you look so cute. And is your dad there?
That's my dad.
Neither of you look like you. That's so amazing.
That's Larissa.
Your dad looks like he's in high school. It's confounding because
it's 70s, okay?
But you look like you're like teetering on the edge of 60s flower child and 70s like.
You know what it was? It was the colors. It was the neutral colors. The reason why I was obsessed with the 70s in high school, I was like, I love burnt orange, and I love like brown, and I love like, all those earthy type tones.
Sure.
And my mom was like, that's like 70s. And I was like, 70s are awesome. And I loved Joni Mitchell. So I was like,
little Carole King,
Yeah.
little James Taylor.
Yeah, all those.
Yeah.
I like read the books and.
And did you and your dad talk about his outfit at all?
I don't remember. It was like 17
Because it's kind
years ago.
of, if it would have just been you, I honestly would have said, oh, it's a 60s thing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh.
But,
No, he's wearing like a vest.
no. If it was just you, you look like a flower child.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, it's because I've got long flowing hair.
And
I'm wearing neutral lipstick and I've got straight hair. That's 70s, okay? Ladies, back me up.
But your dad looks like he's like Bon Jovi with the bandana, but then like the vest is like a cowboy thing. And then that was where I got lost. Anyways.
Call him and ask him, but unfortunately, sad thing.
What?
Wilbur died.
Oh no.
Yeah. So my dad's broken up right now. My cat, who
You've had him for
13, 14 years. I got him like.
I thought even longer than that.
No, I got him. He was almost a year, and I got him, and I was like a freshman in college. And I know. And then when I moved
He was really
out,
tight with your dad.
Yeah, they were really tight. But he's not been doing so well, and he passed away.
Oh, today?
Yesterday.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to the fam.
I know. Maybe I'll cut in a little picture of Wilbur.
Yeah. Oh.
Did you ever see the video of Wilbur?
Yes. Yeah. I'd love for you to fly in the other cat video and say that was Wilbur.
Did you know? I'm sorry, we're not even shooting an episode.
Guys, we'll be with you in a minute.
Did you know that animal shelter is right by Ashley Smedtech?
Is it really?
Placer County. Because he says, "Hey, this is this
It's a
Placer County
very
Animal
famous,
Shelter."
her favorite video of all time.
Placer County Animal Shelter. I have it written by heart, and I forget.
What's the title of it, in case they want to search it?
Pinky the cat. And I had
We
it
got
in
a
my head.
wildcat on our hands.
Nope, I'm not gonna grab him. No, and Ashley posted a picture of his badge.
Yeah.
On Facebook,
Yeah.
and it said Placer County, and I like texted him right away. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, Pinky the cat is from your town." He's
Did
like,
he know who Pinky the cat
He
was?
was like, "Yes," and that was a long time ago.
Let it go.
He knew about it though.
Okay, so let's talk about a couple things now that we've talked about
Things
outfits.
that you and I want to talk about, and they don't
Sorry,
care
guy,
about.
everybody's like, oh Lord. So for one, I didn't even have this written down, but we gave away a ton of gifts,
Yes.
right? So we
You
did.
were busy bee being TGD Santa while I was sitting on my ass on this couch.
You were working on the book, so
That's true.
you're being a TGD Santa of different sorts.
Yeah.
So the Santa that will pay off in with some big stuff.
Yes, but you were rocking it out. All those packages, all those envelopes.
It was pretty cool. Pretty cool. I don't know how many. I didn't do a final count, but there was a lot of books. A lot of Jim Rohn is out there circulating in the world.
Awesome.
Did some. What else we do? We did. Phone consults. We did Skype sessions.
Yep, did
You were
a
in
couple
on a
of
few.
those. I did a couple.
We did those. And then I did, of course, because I didn't have my plate full enough, I did some like other Periscope giveaways, which added another I'm like, there's one thing up for grabs, and I get 15 emails, and I'm like, okay, I'll send everybody
There's
something.
15 things up for grabs.
So I just finished sending those out.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm really bad. Like I'm have to work on this, but I'm really bad. This sounds like I'm like pushing myself, propping myself up, but I'm not. It's just I'm really bad at like the boundary of like if somebody asks for something and they send in emails about like, hey, I'm working through this. I'm like, okay, everybody.
The thing is that sometimes we've done giveaways here and gotten one email.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you get 15 like solid emails, it's kind of like, well, but if and you did get a lot of solid emails. We got solid people just doing their thing.
Whether it was the TGD Santa or whether it was the Periscope. I guess for me, like being in a position finally in my life where I'm able to maybe send something to somebody that might have an effect, a positive effect on them, it's pretty hard for me to hold that.
Yeah. No.
Pretty hard for me to hold that back.
It's not only just going to come back to you, but it comes back to the world, and that's what's so cool. Like
I don't even care about me.
No.
I honestly, just that Jim and these books are floating around and are going to ripple out and cause people to make different decisions and things about their lives and do bigger things and try other stuff. Like, oh man, it's so cool. So cool. Okay, so TGD Santa is officially retired for the year. He's put the sleigh in dry dock. I'm getting my oil changed on the Jag, and
why do you have to get your oil changed so quick?
it's coming up in February, so they were like, you might as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I'm trying to. I have that. Sorry, everybody's like, I told you so about Jags. There's a little rattle behind the seat, and I want that rattle gone. Because, me and OCD, all I do is turn on the car and go, rattle, 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 rattle. So anyways, they said they might as well do the oil.
Are you still happy with your Jag purchase?
Oh, man.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like that, like the Porsche dealership, the guy who sold me my Panamera, I told you this, what he said about it. He took one for a test drive, the Jag F-Type R, and he's German, and he's driven all the fast Porsches, and he's like, that F-Type R, all I could say is it has anger, I'm doing like a weird accent, anger management issues. And I'm like, man, that's a perfect way to put it.
That's why it's Naomi Campbell.
I know. Somebody asked me the other day what the name was, and I was like, it's Naomi. And I went down, I think Jackie Butler asked, and I gave her the full description. It was an email. Full description. She's like, did you name her yet? And I was like,
also have to know, like, Naomi Campbell's British.
oh, that's right. God,
Like,
there's
it's
so many connections.
parallels. Anger management, dark skin.
Does everybody get, like, so everybody was wondering what the name of the Jag was, and Laura's like, it's got to be Naomi Campbell.
Like, instantly, I was like, this car's name is Naomi Campbell.
Because it's
There's no
beautiful.
way. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Iconic. Dark complected. Anger management issues like crazy.
A little unpredictable.
Unpredictable and insane.
Probably a lot of fun.
Really fun. Super fun. British.
And a feisty little gal.
Kind of like charming, but like dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to put it. Yeah, so Naomi is her name. And right now I've got the Mustang, but I'm protesting, so I'm driving the Jeep.
Oh.
So I left the Mustang there.
Yeah.
It was good to get the Jeep out though. Like,
The Jeep is so fun.
I forget. I get in the Jeep. You know what I did last night? Sorry,
Jeeps.
this is really the longest intro in the world. Because it's been raining, and you know how there's like some muddy areas around our like neighborhood. I got in the Jeep and I just like gunned it, and I just went mud whopping last night at about 9 p.m. and just sloshed stuff everywhere.
Is that all over the car?
Oh yeah, I mean it rained last night, so a lot of it's gone. But literally, I was sideways and jumping and up and down. I was
That's
like,
what you can do with that Jeep.
I miss it so much. That Jeep is so built for
Jeep's
ultimate
beast.
destruction. Anyways, okay, so Santa's retired. The Jeep is not retired currently. The Jag's got a rattle, but it'll be back. And any of you guys are like, I told you, just kiss my behind. So, okay, let's see what else we got. So we're going to be changing a little bit of the format here with Q&A Saturday. And nothing dramatic, nothing drastic. Don't anybody get freaked out. But we want to add a little bit of, integrating
yeah.
personal development or business questions if anybody has them, right? Don't feel obligated. Don't like make up stuff and be like, I've got a business, and just because you want to like rap with us. So if you've got business questions, whether they're related to dog training or whether they're related to any other entrepreneurial endeavors, we'd love to hear from you, because it's stuff that's near and dear to our hearts, and we do a lot of work with that, and we coach people and do consults on that. Also personal development, goal setting, working through issues, influences, toxic situations, problems, anything
we were talking about in the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
We did in our New Year's one, we were talking about some goal stuff, and we were talking about some business issues and stuff like that.
It's exciting stuff for us. So it's not that we don't love the dog stuff. We do, but there's a lot of other dimensions to what we get into and what we study, and I think that what we're good at. So I think it would be a disservice to us and you guys if we didn't like dive in deeper to all the stuff that we could maybe help you guys with. So
we just want to really open it up. Like anyone, you can ask about any of that stuff.
So dogs, business, life, right? Wide open. Okay, the crew's back. Britt, everybody sauntered back in. Shelby's coming back from New Orleans, or has come back from New Orleans. She's like, yeah, I'm back in town. Britt's back from, I don't know, she went skiing. Did she go skiing? I think she went skiing, Mammoth.
She did.
I think Britt, she really like laid a vacation down.
Wow.
And so we're back in the
back in the groove.
Back in the groove.
You guys have a ton of dogs coming in too. I think there's like 3 dogs coming in Saturday.
Okay.
And they're like
great.
all bad.
It's time for my vacation. Anyways, so I think I got a hot date with the ski mountain. Anyway, so the crew's back, so it's nice to see all them. Everybody's great. I ate all of Shelby's pistachios, which I had to go and reimburse last night.
You eat pistachios?
Love them.
Really?
Yeah.
I like pistachio ice cream.
That's not the same.
Oh, okay.
It's a little bit different. But
Green.
yes. Anyways, so I'm replenishing Shelby's pistachios. I bought them last night, and I got some weird, it's such a BS, hey, this isn't so bad. Do you know those brownie, they come in a bag and they're quasi-healthy. They're brownie chips. They're flat. You can get them toffee, chocolate chip.
Yeah. Brownie bark or brownie, I know what you're talking
Bark,
about.
but
It's not bark. I know what you're talking about.
anyways, I got those last night.
Thins or something?
Yeah, they're really thin and they're
Yeah.
crunchy, and they're 120 calories or something, for a serving.
One bite.
And I was like, oh, this is great. It's almost like health food, except that I ate the whole bag in the Jeep on the way home. And I was like, I think that
You only have to do that once or twice before you realize that anything that comes that's healthy, you're gonna eat the whole bag before you get home.
it sucks you in because there's not enough girth to it, so you eat it all.
I think it actually just doesn't make you feel like after one, so you're kind of you don't
So
censor
you're
yourself.
feeling good
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
You don't
You're
censor
gonna
yourself.
keep going.
You don't moderate yourself. You're like, oh, these are pretty good.
Other ones make you feel so uncomfortably full.
I think you're right about
leave
that.
A couple. Yeah.
I think you're very right about that. So those are no longer with us.
Yeah.
And I just love the whole thing of like they're like healthy,
Right.
and like except if you swallow the whole bag. Anyways, okay. So also, guys, big thanks from both of us for major, crazy, ridiculous support on the DVDs and the book. Like, blew our minds. You guys bought so many DVDs. I know there were some
About with all the dogs out there, it was like, how many bad dogs like,
are about to turn good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And gifts. I mean, I was thinking maybe a lot of people bought them for gifts because we had the bundle thing.
Free shipping
Yeah,
and then
free
discounted
shipping.
bundle price. So that was awesome, like blew our minds. The DVD sales was almost kind of an afterthought because we've been, you've been Babyland and Bookland, and so it was a bit of an afterthought, but you guys like came through like gangbusters and really like just amazing. We're so grateful for that.
And the book.
And then the book went ape.
Yep.
The book went crazy for the pre-order with the signature personalized version, and
I would say like 400 copies, something around there.
I mean,
we really didn't.
We had very low expectations.
We were like, it'll be easy. Well, it'll be like 50 books, and we'll just sign them all.
Right.
But yeah,
we were mainly looking to see if we could, help offset some of the production costs.
Yeah, literally like we could pay half the production costs and not have to pay out of pocket as much.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
And then you amazing freaking people come through and like take care of like now the production costs are basically covered, so we can like roll straight into the book. But not only that, it's also given us a little more flexibility on the quality levels of what we want to hit, which is kind of cool because
we've added a lot of new stuff. We've added just little touches, and it's going to be all color now. It's going to like, just because we had a lot of pre-sales, we're like,
French flaps.
We're doing French flaps.
Everybody's gonna be like,
what's that?
It's not a sex act. It's nothing like that. It's a design of book of the way of laying out a book cover.
Like, it's got the little flaps on the inside of a soft cover.
Oui. And so anyway, so we were like, we're going really high end. If you've watched our DVDs, we pretty much spare no expense, and so we wanted to make sure the book was in alignment with that. So all color, French flaps, really nice stuff, and we're making sure that the content is just like so top notch. Laura and me have been like, she's been laying most of it out, and then we've been going over it, and it's coming together so like special and unique that really nice. I'm really proud, because it doesn't like all those like, sorry guys, but all those boring dog training books out there that you read to like go to sleep with.
Or boring books in general.
No. These boring dog training books that like put you to sleep, it's not going to be one of those. You're going to turn the page and be like, bam, bam, bam. It's going to have lots of juice, and it's going to be lots of fun.
You can pick it up and look anywhere and just start getting
Yeah. So thank you guys so much. Blew our minds. We like I can't even convey to you how surprised we were. We would check in, and I'd text, and I'd be like, how are the book sales? And I'd be like, oh my God.
This many emails. Yeah,
it's crazy. And then the one last thing about the book is you can't get the pre-signed version anymore, but you can still pre-order if you want to do that. The pre-order is available indefinitely until the book comes out, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Correct. So if you want to make sure you get your hands on a copy, who knows, could have a run on it. I mean, this kind of rate we're going at, like,
we could have
Oprah picks it up, and it's in the book of the month, and next thing, like, it's in every Starbucks, and then
we just have to get it made so Oprah can read it.
All right. Okay. Oprah, it's coming, baby. Anyways, shall we jump into this unbelievably delayed show?
Uh-oh.
Hey, everybody. It's
Jeez.
Sean from The Good Dog. Sorry, Forrest. Sorry, I'm losing my mojo. And this, to my left, is the lovely and quieter than me with,
New Blue.
New Blue, is that what it's called?
No.
Oh, but that would be a good name.
Nails.
New Blue would be good.
That's true.
With some new blue nails and all the stuff you can't see, especially the young little buck underneath the table, who's hopefully going to snooze through the whole show, makes up the Good Dogs Q&A Saturday episode number Got it. 100, because you told me to. 117. Because the guilt is deep. The guilt is so deep now. All right.
Okay.
Let's jump in.
Did you see this? The girls cut the tree down.
Holy crap!
Like, that's so unnecessary. They did not need to cut the tree down.
Wow. Brittany was sorry guys to interrupt the show. This is major stuff.
She was on that rampage.
She was like, I want to chop that tree down. And I was like, of course you do. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait till you get a size of that trunk in there.
Right.
And she's like, if I have to use a knife. And I was like, whoa, she's pretty motivated. Apparently she found the axe. God only knows what transpired once I left.
Okay. Take a second, aim. Okay. Get that aggression out, girl. That's right. You tell that tree who's boss. Get it, Shelby. I want your war cry.
You have to include that. If I leave the roost for a little while, the girls go bananas. Right?
All right.
She found the axe.
That's crazy.
I have to hide the big tools from the ladies, because next thing you know, they're like, Britt's like, we're tearing these walls down.
She's like, we need to make this
Building
all
a
one room.
gymnasium. Okay.
Question number 1 comes from Lauren. Lauren says, hello TGD. My question is regarding resistance during any step of dog training. When should you concede and restart the exercise when encountering resistance from a dog, and when should you wait it out and keep the pressure on? For example, when teaching down, a common practice is to verbalize the command while simultaneously putting pressure on, whether with a leash, prong collar, e-collar, whatever. If a dog resists while practicing this, like locking the legs, ignoring the command, or going half down, should I keep pressure on, increase pressure until he responds correctly, or do you wait a certain amount of time before restarting the exercise? My concern with restarting the exercise is the dog will learn that resistance equals exercise over.
Right.
But my concern with keeping pressure on is that the dog also learns to complete the exercise, doesn't learn to complete the exercise, and becomes a pointless exercise in patience. Thanks for the opinion. That's a great question.
Okay, so Lauren, we've actually had this question in some form or another at different points. And the down is typically like one of the more challenging ones. So, and I know you mentioned at some point, like whether it was prong or e-collar that you might be using. We always make sure we get the down happening with prong collar before we ever go to e-collar. It's so much harder to do it with e-collar if you haven't already patterned it with prong, because the prong has got this directional quality to it, and it's such an easier way to share pressure with the dog in a kind of like a more benign, more controlled kind of fashion. So I would highly recommend that you don't do it with e-collar, do it with prong collar, right? So there's a couple of different ways you can do this, right? Like Laura's watched me do this when we've worked with dogs that have been challenging, like that little dachshund. If they don't want it down, you can try using food, right? So if the dog isn't stressed, or the dog isn't worried, or the dog's like pretty easygoing, happy-go-lucky, you can use food and pattern and lure the dog into a down and do a bunch. So this is one of the ways. Bunch, dog's downing, great, awesome, ba 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 ba. Then prong collar's on, no pressure, food still, but the prong's just moving with it. And then it's clutch and gas, right? But now we start putting just a little bit more pressure on the down with the prong. Food's still there, paying off. And then we start fading the food, a little more prong pressure, a little more prong pressure, a little more prong pressure, sleight of hand, nothing up my sleeve. Next thing you know, the dog is in a down. So that's one way to do it. The other way, which is probably more common, that the way that we do it, is that set up the prong, spin the prong to where the collar, to where the leash attaches is facing down. If you're going to use your hand, or if you're going to use your foot to apply pressure, depending on whether you feel safe with the dog, what we do is we apply very gentle pressure. We say the command, And we might differ from some other places that are going to be like, you have to get the down like rock and roll before you add a word. I highly disagree. I think we've talked about this at length. I really believe that learning is something that's an incremental process, that as you add the word, while the dog's doing the behavior, the dog really starts to learn that this word is associated with this. And then clarity is created as the dog continues to do the behavior and hear that same word. And the dog's like, oh, this is the down, this is the down, this is the down. So I don't think you have to be concerned about adding the word and then the dog becoming confused that like standing still means down, because that's not what the final product's going to be. Right. So what's going to happen is, say you're using your foot for pressure for the down. Apply pressure. Do not stomp. Do not pop. Do not do anything like that. Slowly add the pressure. And a little more. I don't know if you can see me. A little more. A little more. And then if you get the dog into the point where the dog locks up, just hang. Just hold it there. And your question was like, well, if we get into the stalemate, is this teaching the dog, you know, that like, is he not going to understand what the command is? Or if I give up, is he going to realize that giving up, you know, shuts it off, something like that? You're not going to give up. And the dog will learn that down, even if he's in a kind of stuck position, even if he's kind of frozen or unable to move from it initially, he will learn that that down is completely laying down. So once again, let's see if I can clarify this. Pressure's on, light, gentle pressure. Don't overwhelm, don't freak the dog out. Get right to the point where the dog is like right teetering, but then he like kind of puts a muscle against it and holds up. And then just sit there and just hold and hold. And if you feel the dog give a little bit, add just a smidge more pressure. Don't pop it, just a smidge. And if the dog gives you a little bit more, just a little smidge, and then just hold it. Wait the dog out. The dog will sit there in kind of a weird, like, I'm halfway down, I'm not all the way there. And within a few minutes, the dog will down. And when the dog downs, don't even worry about keeping him there. As soon as they down, good, you know, give them a reward, break them out. Like when I say break them out, I mean like break or release, boom, let's get out of your party, and then go right back down to it, right? So the dog gets released, dog gets rewarded, bring the dog back, and let's start to reiterate what that down means and start to create more clarity about that down is actually, in fact, this word means to do this. And so what you'll find is as you do this over and over again, you'll find that the amount of time you need to wait for the dog to go into the down will get less and less, and the resistance will get less and less, and the dog should start to like down nice and easy, down nice and easy, down nice and easy. The only difference would be is if you've got a dog with a really crappy attitude and you know that the dog knows down, he's done it with food, and you've seen him do it in other contexts where he's like, yeah, I know this, and then you have a dog that's like, and he decides like, I'm not into it. Then you can come up against situations where a little bit more of a sharp, firm pressure might be what the doctor ordered. This is a super kind of like feel situation, right? So forest. So you have to be super careful about judging when to utilize that. So that's only when there's no confusion, when the dog is being bratty, when the dog knows it exactly, but is refusing to do it. Yep. Then I'm going to say like, no, we're actually going to add a little bit more of a sharper pressure to get that down happening. Yep. And then you can move to the e-collar. So I hope that helps. I hope it creates some clarity. But really, the easiest way is to wait him out. And Tony Shields' secret method of doing it, it's awesome. Tony's so creative. He's so patient. He'll put him in a sit, and he's got the prong collar on or whatever tool he's using, and he'll wait. And he'll wait. He's probably watching a baseball game. He's like, yeah, I got all day, buddy. Look, you see the score? And then the dog's like, boy, I want to lay down. And as soon as the dog goes to start to lay down, Tony's like, down. And then he grabs it and he captures it, right? And then he'll put the dog back into a sit, and the dog's like, oh, I'm so weary. And then as soon as the dog, he just captures it and then starts to use the dog's own downing as a bridge. He's a wily one.
He's a wily one.
So
that's how he did it with the movies and TV stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like capturing stuff so that dogs or animals would just do stuff that they were looking for them to do.
Yeah. A little bit of a,
Sleight
kind
of
of,
hand.
like reaching back to his old days. Really old days.
Thanks, Lauren. Okay, question
Number two.
This comes from Lisa Flowers. Lisa says, how am I supposed to have my dog-aggressive Doberman meet new dogs? I just got the DVDs and I need to know how to address this. She really wants to like other dogs, but has the mentality of, I'm going to get you before you get me. She was attacked a few times by a pitty. Oh boy.
So, you saw me cover my face.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I could have covered my face a few more times in that very short little
Nothing against you, Lisa.
question. This is such a common question.
Yeah, like so many clients that come in are looking for this exact thing. They're like, I know my dog's good. My dog got attacked, and I know that they'd be okay, but they just need are they never ever going to be around dogs ever?
For me, it's super important. The reason that I wanted this question to be in here is because this question comes up a ton.
Mm-hmm.
And I want universal questions like this that get dogs and owners into trouble. I really want us to address as clearly and as succinctly as possible. And that when you say that you've got a dog-aggressive dog and that you want your dog to have friends, your dog very likely doesn't want to have friends.
Right.
So I'm going to let you go.
Yeah, so I think the answer is you're not going to have your Dobie meet dogs right now, right? So there's a good post, I think Sean, it's a blog called Socialization.
Yes.
And it's basically, it's a blog talking about how we really get pushed into this whole idea that our dogs need to meet other dogs and be around other dogs for them to be stable and balanced. They need to get to know other dogs. Unfortunately,
To be happy and fulfilled.
yeah, to be a balanced dog. So your Dobie had some unfortunate early experiences, which tons of dogs that come in to see us have had the same experiences.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't trust dogs. It doesn't want to get near dogs. It doesn't want to meet dogs right now. That's why it's looking proactive, and that's why it's like, I'll get you before you get me, because it's been gotten before.
Yeah.
So it wants to change that and make sure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
So the big thing that you need to focus on is just the foundation of the DVDs. So work on this. The blog post is really, I was just working on it in the book. The blog post is really great because it talks about how you don't need to worry about the dog friends right now if your dog has some instability stuff with dogs or with people. Just worry about getting the relationship right. Worry about getting all the foundation that's in those DVDs that you bought. Get that whole system down. Get your dog in a different mindset. And then when it comes to dogs down the road, it's a tricky one because if the dog was in our boarding train, we would do all the foundation before introducing him to dogs or doing any of that. We'd do all the foundation you're going to do in your DVDs.
Yeah.
And then we would start walking your dog with other stable dogs. We'd start working your dog in just our training space with Belle walking around, who's super stable.
Yeah.
We'd make sure that there was no it wasn't like your dog was
Massively
attacked.
controlled environment
really
experience.
Really controlled, but your dog or a dog in our board and train would understand wow, no dogs are going after me anymore. And they'd slowly start to build trust over weeks by using that foundation and all that training that we'd be doing with it. So that's what we would suggest. I would probably suggest you finding a professional for once you want to do that. But the reality is your dog doesn't need to meet dogs. You don't need to have them meet on leash, tell them no, he's not friendly, or he's in training, or whatever it is. Your dog doesn't need to meet any other dogs on leash. You don't need to go to the dog park. Please don't, because your dog's been attacked before. It can happen again. It happens again all the time. So I would say down the road, the best bet if a dog friend would be a stable, balanced dog that your dog can just hang out in place with. If they're both obedient and hanging out in place, and then maybe take a walk with having them on opposite sides of the handler. But I would say just don't worry about it. Just do your thing, get the foundation right.
I'm sorry, there's such a this going on. And I know you're saying basically the same thing, but this is the kind of fundamental missing of understanding of our dogs. Yeah. And so we feel that, our dogs need to have these friends to feel fulfilled and happy, and so we feel compelled and obligated to make that and facilitate that and make it happen. And the dog is saying like, I don't need that, and I don't want it. It doesn't feel comfortable. It's really stressful. I don't know these dogs. I'm not comfortable with it. So then we have these conflicting desires, right? You want your dog to have friends because you think he needs to, and your dog is like, I don't need to have friends. I just need to be stable and comfortable with you. And that's kind of where things miss.
They just want to trust you, you know.
They just want to feel safe.
Yeah.
You know.
You putting them in dogs' paths or putting them around situations where they're uncomfortable, they'll be like, you know what? I don't trust you anymore. I'm gonna listen to my instincts, and my instincts are telling me to, you know,
protect myself. So I would love, building off of what Laura said, I would love for you to just kind of like she said, go after all of the foundational, fundamental, universal stuff that that are in the DVDs and that we're you know, sharing with you as far as you know, the foundation work. But boy, would I let go of that stuff of like that your dog needs that. He just doesn't need it. He doesn't need it. Like you said it all in the first statement. My aggressive dog needs to meet other dogs, or you know, he doesn't. He's not ready for it, right? So let's let go of that and let's just train your dog and let's get him into a good space. He needs you.
Yeah, he needs you.
Doesn't need a bunch of dog friends. He needs you. And maybe someday down the line when he's like super dog, maybe, and you got a professional to help you do stuff, maybe you can move into it. But
the unfortunate thing is your dog had a bad experience with that pitty, who it's not your fault, just is what it is. It happens. And so you have to roll with that hand that you were dealt. So just worry about your dog and you guys together.
And let go of the pressure.
Yeah.
Let go of the pressure to have dog friends.
Absolutely.
So many people struggle with that.
Yeah, totally.
So, awesome.
Cool. Thanks.
I can't wait to see the Christmas tree pictures up here.
3.
The girls.
I know.
Shelby with her war cry.
That's so funny. Brittany making her do a war cry. It's amazing.
All right, so question number 3.
Okay, question number 3 comes from Jen.
Yes.
This one, the New Year's one? Yeah, okay, cool.
It's not a New Year's one.
She said I wanted to say. Okay. Jen says, hi TGD, just want to say I love your New Year's Eve show. It was a breath of inspiration and hope that I can make this coming year the foundation on which to build a different life. As far as dog training questions, I'm hoping you can provide advice on learning to work with aggressive dogs. It's the biggest hole in my training skill set and one that I feel I need to address before starting my own business. I've worked at a number of boarding and training kennels over the years. I've done some formal and pet dog obedience apprenticeships, group and individual classes, but I know from a lot of friends in the business that aggression cases are a large percentage of their clientele. I'm also a master's level applied animal behaviorist, but find the recommended protocols insufficient for a number of dogs. Thoughts on ways I can improve my skills and education in this area? Thanks and Happy New Year.
Boy, Jen, that's a serious question.
Tall order.
That is a tall order.
Yes.
Okay, so my first suggestion is that, and this is for both of us if we want to jump in. Yes. My first note is it's complicated.
Yes.
Right? There's no easy answer. No. Aggression comes in a million different forms and a million different like textures and layers and personalities and emanations of it. So it ain't easy. There's no just like one size fits all, as I'm sure you know. So it's complicated. Besides that, the best way that I would suggest is to shadow or apprentice with somebody who actually does that kind of work. So you've apprenticed with other folks that have done like obedience and other things, but nobody that's done straight up aggression work. And it's really a skill set unto itself. So you can do group classes and you can do basic obedience and you can do agility and you can do all sorts of other things. But like rehabbing behavior modification stuff, you know, like going after serious behavior mod is really a different animal. And so a lot of times it's kind of an art form that doesn't get taught in a lot of places. It can be a hard one to like find somebody to show you how to do that stuff. So if you can find somebody to shadow that you really trust, that you've seen do really great work, I think that's a great place to start. If you can apprentice, same thing goes, right? So beyond that, if we're gonna talk about like, so that's my macro safe answer, like what to do. Also, you have to be really cautious because you can get really hurt. So I know trainers in the past that have wanted to do aggression work. And I'm going to get into a couple things here that are interesting. I know some trainers have gotten into aggression work and gotten themselves seriously hurt. So that's something also to be cognizant of, is that that's in play. Like getting hurt is in play when you're dealing with aggressive dogs. So one of the things that I personally feel that you have to work with aggression successfully, and we can make fun of this and have kind of a silly thing with it, but it's kind of like the eye of the tiger, right? So hopefully everybody remembers that cheesy song, but there's a lot of truth in that song. And
Eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight.
right?
The eye of the tiger, it's the thrill.
Is it coming back? Coming back? Coming back? Okay. Anyways, so needle. So here's the thing: is that to deal with aggressive dogs doesn't mean you have to be muy macho and all that stuff, but you do have to be in a space of like being able to occupy an emotional and physical space that is believable to a dog that is willing to do harm to you. And that's not a space everybody's okay with, right? So you see me here, happy-go-lucky, goofy Sean.
Easy Sean.
But you see me work with serious dogs that want to hurt me, and you know that I also have the ability to switch gears and move into a different place. And I'm not saying that like, you know, like rah, rah, rah for myself. I'm just saying that without the gear shift, if I approached aggressive dogs in this same like happy-go-lucky manner, my goose would be cooked, right? Dogs that are in that space are going to feel very much what you come with and what's your intention and what's emanating from you. So that stuff is super valuable. So you have to check in with yourself about, do I have the stuff to go in and deal with a dog that's dangerous, and can I manage my fear, and can I keep myself calm, and am I willing to put that kind of risk on the line? So those are super important things that I want to get out like before anything else, because it's dangerous. I know plenty of people that have been hurt, and I know plenty of people that I've tried it and been like, that's not really right for me. So there is a mindset and kind of a thing that goes with people that I think that do good aggression work. Would you agree? Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
So now basically understanding some of the basic principles of aggression stuff, you know, a lot of people have different philosophies and approaches. For us, I'm going to try and keep this really short and succinct, but dogs that come in, we were just talking about this with muzzle conditioning stuff and things like that. Dogs that come in, like, we don't allow aggressive displays. We don't We don't allow nasty, dangerous, negative behavior. We shut it down straight away. So some people feel that you have to build this kind of trust thing first in order to get an aggressive dog to be in a different space, right? I highly disagree, and our team really functions from a different space, which is like, you come in with wanting to hurt anybody in the team, anybody that's, you know, working with you, you're in a negative space, we're going to shut that down immediately. Because once you shut that down, then you create the doorway to be able, or the gateway to be able to move a dog into a space of learning where they are inhibiting some of that aggressive stuff. If you don't inhibit that, then you get aggressive stuff while you're trying to train a dog, and that's not a lot of fun. So those are some kind of basic like tenets of how we approach this, right? Dogs come in, muzzle condition. They gave us any real trouble, we're going to shut it down, and we're going to be very clear, unequivocal. Do not mess around. Do not try and use your teeth. Do not think that this environment is the same as your home environment, where you can get away with pushing people around or acting in a dangerous behavior. So we're going to cut that right away. And then we're going to use a multitude of tools to try and move the dog along. We're going to use prong collar and e-collar, and we're going to use structure, and we're going to use firm rules, alarm clocks to keep you on track. And we'll also use food drive for human aggressive dogs. Food drive is something that we definitely incorporate a lot of, which is basically the dog only eats, you offer the dog food every day, but the dog only eats out of your hand, which creates pretty phenomenal psychological shift for the dogs. So it's this whole culmination of all these tools and all these approaches, and also, like, to get like really serious with this, like massively sensitive, intuitive reading of the dog's demeanor, attitude, and where they're coming from.
I mean, I think this question comes up a lot at T3. A lot of people are like, I want to work with aggressive dogs. I want to work with aggressive dogs. And it runs the gamut from people who've been working with dogs for 10 years to people who are just starting to work with dogs. And they're like, I really want to work with aggressive dogs. I think the question to remember, or the question to ask yourself is, have I worked with enough dogs where I can read that attitude stuff? That's really important. Because it's not just a one size fits all. I mean,
can you explain that?
I can.
I know we're a little bit over, but just really briefly, like attitude stuff?
Yeah, I'm trying. So the attitude that you have of like a dog who's super aggressive can run the gamut from bratty and entitled to like super nervous and out of its tree. Just
both will bite you.
Yeah, I mean, all of the things in between. And the thing that, like, there are some super aggressive, like some of our worst, like most aggressive dogs just in their history have come in and been the biggest, softest cupcakes that we've ever worked with in our lives. And they don't need any heavy conversation or any, like, all they needed was just a little bit of direction.
Or one heavy conversation of like, hey, knock this crap off.
You can't do that. You can't look at someone with that kind of hard stare. Right. And that heavy conversation could be like a tap on the e-collar at a low level. For them, that's
or a pop
heavy.
on the prong, or like, don't go jumping out the front door.
Right, but it depends. And I think the biggest thing that we tell students is you just have to work with a ton of dogs to get there. And
a buttload, if you will.
A buttload, if you will. And even, and I mean a ton of dogs, like working up to that skill set. So we see a lot of trainers out there who are working with tough dogs. Like Tori Smith's a great example. She works with mainly dogs that, like, she loves, like, just goofy golden retrievers that are pulling you down the sidewalk and you know, going crazy at the door and doing all that stuff and really making their owners' lives no fun. If she's working with aggressive dogs, what she's done is, because she works with so many dogs, she can really read attitude. She's taken on cases one at a time that feel like in her skill level. So over the years, she's just built.
But that have gotten more intense.
Yeah, of course. At this point, she can, you know. But at the start, there was more of like a build.
She was a really smart trainer. Right? She listened to us. She actually started like really mild, doing what was in her comfort zone, and then that comfort zone expanded. Right? And so now she's still kind of like, her sweet spot is goofy, funny, you know, well, they may not be funny, but like goofy, silly nutty, dogs. Like silly dogs. But now she's also starting to expand into some other things because she's given herself time to develop those skills. And that read.
And just to close this off, I would say one thing to remember is that there are a ton of dogs out there that people will call aggressive that are not aggressive. So a lot of dogs that we get in that are just leash reactive, meaning they're walking down the street with their owners, they see another dog and a lot of owners will say and even some trainers will say it's an aggressive dog. And the dog's not aggressive. The dog's not wanting to bite anyone or bite any dog. It's just reactive. So I would say, like, as you're moving yourself up, you know, doing shadows, doing a ton of study, working with as many dogs as possible, as you're moving into that realm, start working with just reactive dogs to start, because the amount of, like, really truly aggressive dogs that we get in at the Good Dog is far less than you would really even think. Like, the amount of, like, man eaters, like, I want to do this just because I'm out for blood, is far lower than what it seems. It's a lot more nervous, reactive, fearful, you know. So
bratty.
So I would just say, like, and also remember make sure you know who you're talking to. These people that are telling you, like, oh, you know, you got to really work with aggressive dogs in order to make a living. There's a lot of people out there that will tell you stuff, and you got to remember, you know, make sure you just take into account, like, who you're listening to and stuff like that, because a lot of people want to make sure that there's not, you know, that there's not competition coming in or anything like that. Oh, you got to work with super aggressive dogs. It's like, or you don't, or you work with the dogs that Tori works with, you know, she can work with whatever dogs, but she would prefer to work with, like, more of these dogs that are just making people's lives hell, and none of the other tools work. So
And make sure you check in with yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So check in with who these people are that are rapping with you about this stuff, but really check in with yourself.
Yeah.
Like nobody knows like you know about what your true parameters or abilities, you know, really are.
Yeah.
And so be brutally honest with yourself, because there's nothing worse than getting heavily damaged by a dog because you didn't know what you were getting into.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying you do that, but we would so love you to be careful.
Yeah, just be careful.
Yeah.
Move slow, work with a bunch of dogs, and enjoy the process.
Work the goofies and then build up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. All right, good luck. Question number 4 comes from Nancy. Nancy says, I have a 2-year-old female dog, and she redirects and bites me and has bitten others because I didn't have control of her.
Yikers.
I'm more responsible now, and I use a muzzle and never let her loose. I'm going to a dog training class for reactive dogs. I've been using an e-collar, and she's pretty good. I have 5 dogs, so it isn't all smooth.
Yikers.
I got the pet convincer, and that's great, but I need her to look at me for direction. She's fearful and lashing out. So I have a prong collar. I watched your videos. I'm ready to start. My weird problem is I'm embarrassed of us. My shame that I should know this by now kicks in. You know, my second trainer said she's a brat, challenging, says that I'm doing better with her. So everything she's just doing is e-collar. I get mad at her and it's hard to stay calm. She pulls, growls, and I'm supposed to stay calm. Is she like this because she's gotten away with it? I have so many questions. Is she crazy? I think it's my lack of training from the start with a dominant dog. I watch hours of you on YouTube and any information I can find. The question is more helping for her, you know, helping her feel like there will be a less aggressive dog in a year from now. She has a litter mate and she's calm and submissive. And she said, I love you guys so much. I'm a good baker. I can send you treats. Hint,
That's
hint.
the most important part of that. So let's send those treats. Let's see what those baked goods are all about.
It's a good question.
Before you jump in, first of all, we'd love to see a video.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because this dog you're describing, that's not CC. There's this dog you're describing. I think for both of us, we'd really like to see some details about like attitude, personality, and like the intensity and everything like that.
I think it is like, from what we can glean, we create a certain dog in our mind, but it can always be different than what we're creating. So,
Oh.
are you getting the answers? Is that Jeff Gelman on there?
So, Jeff.
Put a prong collar on him.
So, what I would say, just to start on you, Nancy, is that, you know, welcome to the club. I don't know.
Yeah. I had you answer this because I think you'd be a good person for her to chat with.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a nice way to be like, oh, you know, you'll like, but guess what? You're always going to have a bad dog because you care a lot. Like, I think what's interesting is that...
But she can have a much better dog.
Of course.
Yeah.
And that's the obvious part to me.
Don't send her off the edge.
No, but it's cool just to check in with, like, the fact that a ton of you out there are watching a 90-minute show on dog training each week on YouTube.
Which one?
Yes, you know.
Oh, this?
Yes.
Oh.
You guys are out there, which means you're obsessed with dogs and dog training.
And doing better.
Yes, which means that you're seeing every little bit of the dog. You're getting second and third trainers. You're trying this, you're trying this. You know, my parents have 2 aggressive dogs. Let's just be real.
I've been bitten 14 times by them.
The one bit you.
Did she?
Yes, the chow. You got down and you were like, and
Did
she
I try
went
and do
after
kissy
you.
face?
No, but the point is that they don't know. Like,
Did I whoop her behind?
and no, you just gave her a hand correction. I don't remember. But they don't know because they are not obsessed with dog training.
Yeah.
So, like, they don't, like, the one bit my dad super bad one time. One, like...
Camping trip, right?
Yeah. One, you grab her collar and she spins around. I was there over Christmas and I, like, made them keep him outside because the baby, like... And my parents are like, oh, like, don't... And I'm like, no, they're, like... I think my mom sometimes watches the show. So, Mom, but I've talked to you about this. They're not aggressive like going after like.
She's like backpedaling.
No, they're not going after, and they're great dogs in so many respects. So that's the whole thing.
What did your dad say after she bit her on the camping trip?
He came back to the campsite. My mom was like, "Where's Lila?" He's like, "I don't know." I don't know.
And I don't care.
I don't care where. I don't care if she comes back. Is what he said. He left
We're pulling up stakes and we're getting out of
he
here.
left her.
She bit him good.
Real good. He
Yeah,
was like bleeding,
yeah.
Because he went to grab her collar. So anyway.
Don't grab collars.
The point, not to laugh at this, Nancy, but man, like, if my parents were into dog training they'd feel the same way you do. You know what I mean? They'd be like, oh, I don't know how to, like, because, and you know, that's kind of a joke, but seriously, like, you're really into this. You've got 5 dogs, you've got litter mates, you've got a pitty that's, like, losing its mind, you're trying trainers, you're all the stuff, you're struggling with stuff. But the reality is, you know, you have a 2-year-old dog, this is like the worst time ever. In 1 year, you're gonna have a whole different dog. My big thing for you to do is not give up, not beat up on yourself, not do one method with one trainer and go halfway and then switch trainers really quick because, oh, I'm getting sick of doing that way. Just stick with a path and go for it. So you've already done e-collar training, you've worked with our videos, you don't need to really glean anything more except, like, get your dog super reliable on the e-collar. I think you're using like a sport dog. You might want to trade it in and get an educator mini or a boss because you need like all those levels. You don't want just 8.
First thing I thought was you may need a boss.
Yeah.
You may need a collar with a little more headroom.
Yeah, and something with more levels and more kind of like nuance. So you know, do the program, work with the dog. If you're going to the class and it's great. But if you're going to the class and you're not feeling like it's good and the stuff that you've done with us in the past works, you got to stick with that and you got to really buckle down. And yeah, if things aren't perfect with your 5 dogs at home, make them damn near perfect as you can. Maybe you only work with, maybe this dog's crated when the other dogs are out and then you bring it out and just work with it alone and you start integrating it. You know, whatever it is, you made the choice to get litter mates. You made the choice to get a 4th and 5th dog, right?
It comes to self-responsibility part.
No, I mean, really, it's like...
Just turn the volume down on this part.
No, I'm not trying to bust...
No, I'm kidding. It's important.
It is, and I'm way over my head with lots of things.
Polar bear was,
Yeah, and like 2 giant dogs. Like
I was there too. Yeah.
So,
good company here, lady.
Yeah, you're totally in good company. The good news is you found us. The good news is you have the skills. You know what an e-collar is. Think about all the people out there that are in your situation that all they have is a treat bag and a dumb click thingy. So you're well further on the road. I don't know what that is. A clicker? I was picturing like, you know,
a treat bag and a dumb click. What'd you say? Dumb click thingy?
The thing
She's
is,
slamming them. Boom.
It's where you, you know, a clicker.
Yeah. It's just the way it was presented. Well, let me share something here.
Okay. I'll just...
Shame thing.
Yeah.
Right? If you have to need some flying Pomeranians or whatever you need to do to dancing husky. Shame thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I know that's easy to say.
Yeah.
But like, you've got a dog with an issue.
Major issue.
A lot of people get dogs with issues. It doesn't make you a bad owner, doesn't make you a bad trainer, doesn't make you negligent, doesn't make you irresponsible. It makes you a human being that has the luck of the draw of like, one dog's great, one dog's not so great. Yeah. Let's fucking get rid of the shame stuff. Let's be done with it. It doesn't serve you. It doesn't do any good for you. Laura had plenty of challenges with Polar Bear, a lot of the same stuff, redirecting, biting. I had Oakley. I had to work for 2.5 years to make any progress with Oakley to where I could get him to go buy a dog without lighting up. And I didn't even have an e-collar or anything like that. It was just prong collar and probably some fairly
prayers.
Like a lot of praying and some probably fairly poor like mechanics, right? I was really figuring it out on my own. So yeah, does it feel like shit? Yeah, I walked in a park in a square, I was gonna say circle, but in a square around other people and having to like deal with my reactive dog. And yeah, it felt like crap because everybody's like,
Right.
But you know what? Fuck them. Sorry, you're gonna need a lot of Pomeranians. But I really was like, this is my dog. And I'm gonna make them better.
Yeah.
And so I went out every single day. I mean, it's such a good thing about personal work is like, go out, forget the shame, forget the judgment, forget the criticism, forget all that crazy monkey business, and just go out and work your dog. Now, that said, there's a couple things I just want to share with you. So you're doing a class, that's awesome. Personally, I wouldn't be working your dog around other dogs right now.
No.
So if you've got a reactive dog or an aggressive dog, doesn't matter. We don't take those dogs. No matter what tools we're using, we don't go out and like start like integrating, moving them around, like hunting for dogs. What we're looking for is interior work and exterior work to be immaculate. We're looking to get the dog, we're looking to create leverage on as many fronts as possible to where the dog is so tuned into listening, is working so heavily on impulse control, is so much better at dealing with things that might be stressors, that they're uncomfortable and you've patterned over and over again. Ignore that. Don't worry about that. That's none of your business. Inside, outside, don't move. I want you there. Heel, just like this. Don't you dare move. Don't stare at that dog. All that stuff. And you build this leverage to where when you finally get your dog into a better space, which can take some time, then you can start going like around dogs at a distance, and then you slowly like start like shoring up that distance and getting it closer and closer. My personal belief, and unless the class has like some magically great stuff going on, if they do, more power to them. But all I know is what we've seen is that we never, back in the old day, we'd be like, let's get the dog out and let's go like around dogs. And it was the hardest thing on the dog, hardest thing on the owner, and the hardest thing on us. The best thing we've ever done is move to a completely like foundational program to where we build leverage in all contexts to where we can go out and tackle the heavy issues. So that's one thing I'd really like you to think about. We've all been there, we covered that. And we really do need a video description of the training. So send it, what email should you send it?
You can do Dropbox through here. So if you do Dropbox, you can email me too if you don't know how to use Dropbox, but that's the place to send it, and we can always do a follow-up on Q&A or something.
Yeah, it would be super awesome, because if we see that, we can probably give you some way better custom fit advice and suggestions for what you're dealing with. Cool, but no shame. Like, you got
hang in there, just like do your thing. This is a journey.
I hate hearing people feel bad because they got the luck of a hard dog. It's not your fault.
It's not your fault. Doesn't mean that, like, we could get a dog tomorrow. Both of us could adopt a dog that could thwart us.
He goes out for a long drive in the country. Sorry. Country dog.
No, I mean,
I've got a big property out there.
You did get the luck of the draw because you got another one in the same litter that's like sweet and submissive.
And guess what? You're doing all the work.
Yeah.
You're out there with tools and going to classes and doing this stuff. Like, you're kicking ass. So, like, no more shame, no more guilt. Like, move on. Okay?
Cool.
Send us a video.
Yes, please. Thanks.
Okay.
All right. So we've got question number 5. Looks like we have a bonus down there.
Yeah, if we've got, you haven't approved it yet, so I might just sneak it in when you're like looking at Forrest, like gazing at him lovingly, like, question number 6.
Question number 5 comes from Valerie. Valerie says, hey guys, so I finally mustered up the courage to get to work with the e-collar, and it's awesome. Valerie, you've been around for a while. You've just mustered up that courage, huh?
It took a bit.
That's awesome. Well, you did it, so that's freaking awesome.
Send us pastries so we can feel better about it.
Yes, please. We even had maintenance men come into our home, and with a small correction, Zosh laid in his crate and total silence. It was major avoidance, but I'll take it. Yes. We will take it too.
Yes.
And it will change, trust me. My question is this. We are doing the Laura lockdown. I love that that's coined.
You're so famous now.
It's just the alliteration they like.
Did you just say alliteration?
Yeah.
God, Shelby just taught me about that last night and made me feel dumb.
Oh, you didn't know what an alliteration was?
I barely got out of high school.
I know, but you read a lot. I thought you would know that.
No, they don't talk about it. They just do it.
Oh, okay.
Right? I was like trying to help somebody with the name of their business, and I was like, like,
right. I get it. And then she said it's an alliteration. Okay. We are doing the Laura lockdown. He is created unless
I'm trying, guys. I'm trying.
He's created unless he's working or on a walk. Awesome. But I'm starting to struggle with it, and as a result, I'm giving him more freedom than
Am I
probably
really writing
should.
a book?
I know.
It's with crayons.
We're like,
you guys will
it's
read
your
it.
book.
You guys will read it. It'll
Just
be
promote it. Just promote it. I am home all day, so seeing Sash in the crate or stuck on place for such long periods of time is difficult for me. What kind of work activities do you guys do? Now that he knows all his commands, like going place to place, duration work, recall, man, she's a badass.
Mm-hmm.
Other than his structured walks, I'm stumped on what to do with him. He's not the eager to learn type, so teaching him all sorts of tricks.
Apparently, neither am I.
So teaching him all sorts of tricks would prove more frustrating than anything else. What are some activities you do to proof your dogs on recall and other commands, or things just to keep them busy during the day?
You want to dive into that at all?
I do. Valerie, it's a great question.
Her second part of her question is, what is alliteration? She's confused too.
Valerie, when you're at work, do you think you're your boss, or maybe you're your own boss? But
I
let's
think
just
she works
assume.
from home.
Okay. Well, let's assume you have a boss. Okay. Maybe a lot of you out there have someone that you work for. Do you think that while you're working for your wage or your salary or whatever it is, your boss is in their office like this, pacing, being like, what can I give Valerie to make her life more exciting? The workplace. What can I give her a crossword puzzle to do during her break? Can
Sudoku.
I give her a better lunch? What should I give? Oh my gosh, no. And I know it's a little bit of a different situation.
It's a stretch.
Okay, here's the deal.
I'm with you.
Your dog, I don't know much of the stuff, but I do know that your dog laid down when someone came in, a maintenance man, which means that my guess is there was probably door rushing, barking, growling, whatever.
Nefarious activities.
Nefarious stuff, and your dog didn't do it. So that's kind of what I'm taking from this.
Awesome.
Which means that your dog is in the process of working through a rehab program, which means we don't need to give him something to do beyond just doing what he's doing. So yes, it's no fun. I totally get it. Guys, this is a means to an end. We are not looking to have... Is it all down there? Reboot, play. Okay, yeah, this is all the stuff. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, no, you rock. I'll just be the silent partner.
It's all a means to an end. We don't want the dog sitting there all day for the rest of your life, but right now you're in process. If you're celebrating the dog laying down when a maintenance man comes in, that means you're still in process. So at the point when...
beginning of it.
And if there's avoidance going on, that means that you're still very early in the process. Mm-hmm. So at the point when the maintenance man walks in, if a maintenance man walked in here and it wasn't Cece going crazy, my dogs would look up from the bed. They would bark before the door was open. Once the door was opened, I'd look at them. They would just lay down and be like, great, look, a maintenance man. So they don't need to be in place all
They've
day.
Been pattern.
Yeah, they're well past that point. So I can have more fun. They can have more freedom, more wandering. Now, if a maintenance man came in and they both went absolutely nuts and charged the door and I couldn't get them off and I was just learning place command, I would have them in lockdown all the time. So
how come?
Because it's all about state of mind stuff, and you know this, Valerie. You've been around for a while.
And patterning.
Yeah, patterning, state of mind.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm just trying to assist because it's really true. State of mind, and the state of mind comes from the patterning over and over and over again of there's that guy, not my business. There's that guy, not my business. And even when the guy's not there, I just hang out. None of my business. Yeah.
I do what she says. She told me to go in place. Yes, I would love to go to the water bowl right now, but I'm not going to. Water bowl etches up to, oh, I see the maintenance man. I might want to go over there. No, I can't. I know I'm supposed to listen. So that's the goal. Now, what you can do, I saw it in your notes too, is you can take your dog to an enclosed park. You can take your dog on a long line. If you have a yard, you can play. You can do sort of like red light, green light, like I do this with my dogs all the time at the park. Put them in a down. I walk away really super far, and Cujo's like this, just waiting for the command. Herc's like sniffing the air.
Smoke coming out of his ears.
Exactly. And then I call them, and they run like mad towards me. And then with like Cujo, I can put him in a down as he's running, so it like becomes this kind of fun game. So we'll do that. You can do that same thing if you have a big yard, if you have an enclosed space that you feel comfortable with, or a non-enclosed space and you want to have them on the long line all the time. I would suggest, just for, we say long line all the time, anytime you're out where the dog's run away. So
Our lawyers have told us to say that.
Yeah. So, but, you can do what you want, but that's kind of like a fun sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I would just continue with what you're doing in the house. It's working, clearly. So don't, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah. So, and just let me to follow up. Let me just follow up on this. So, like Laura said, it's not forever. It's a reboot. You're really trying to create new patterns, new habits, new state of mind.
Yeah.
And this is not going to happen overnight. Your dog's probably been doing this for quite some time. So you've got to give yourself time and your dog time to reboot and really let these habits sink in. So that's probably going to be something that's going to be uncomfortable for you, but it's going to be comfortable for your dog, believe it or not. Yeah. You're going to look at your dog who's like laying in place and like, sitting around. You're going to be like, he's not like happy or what. Your dog's going to
so good. He's been so obedient.
Right. And your dog's like, just like chilling out. Yeah. Here's the thing, like my dogs, Laura's dogs, when they're out at like TGD, they're not just like roaming around. They're just hanging out and, well, except for Cujo, but he's like a working dog. But I mean, they're just like hanging and sleeping. Yeah. And that's the thing, is like we get caught up in that dogs need to be constantly doing something to be stimulated. Dogs need downtime. Dogs need quiet time. Dogs need time to just clock out and just be chilled out so their nervous system can like get back into a good space. Uh-oh. Let me see if I can get this out before Cece comes bursting through the door. Okay. Do you want to... Oh, dear.
I got it.
We're breaking down here. All right, guys. You just got me. Let's see who it is.
Oh, no, it's not Cece.
Okay. It's not Cece. We're going to be... Okay. Okay. So it's not forever. It's a reboot, right? Some play outside, like Laura said, red light, green light, on and off switch, things like that, which basically create excitement and then shut the dog down. Create excitement, shut the dog down. Really great brain work. Also, the work that you would do inside with your dog, recall, sit, down, place, especially if you get creative and fun with it, and put the dog in places that are challenging. Put him in the bathroom in place. Put him in another room where he can't see you in place. Put him in place and knock on the door, or go out and get the mail, or move around, or dance around him, or whatever it is that creates a distraction that makes it more challenging for your dog to practice impulse control and hold himself there, will burn a ton of mental energy and will actually help your dog relax, decompress, vent a lot of this stuff in a much more productive fashion than just like running around and having activity after activity. So what a lot of people don't get is that the quiet, the downtime, the clocked out, the easy, the breezy, the like stationary stuff is where so much of the value of state of mind stuff comes. But if you're feeling bad about it, it's going to be hard for you. So you need to kind of make that switch and realize, wow, I'm really doing my dog a favor by letting him have this quiet downtime, and then just let the guilt go, right? So that's super duper important. Your dog doesn't need to be wandering all day. That's not what your dog should be doing, right? That's not going to help contribute to what you're looking to get. And one of my last things I said is downtime is good for your dog and it's hard for you. And I think we kind of covered that pretty clearly with all that. So that all said, thank you for the Indian.
You're so welcome.
The beginnings of the Indian. Anything else you want to say to Valerie before we clock out from her?
No, Valerie, just go. Just don't have any guilt. You're doing great. Rock it out.
Yeah. This is the last thing I'll say, is that if your dog was here, right, and your dog came in a maniac and had all this stuff going on, we would be doing all of this stuff, the Laura lockdown, tons of work, a little supervised playtime, a lot of crate downtime, structured walk, and you know what? You'd pick your dog up and you'd be like, I can't believe how amazing he is. Those exercises and those protocols and that program would help your dog really launch into a great space. So don't be resistant to them or reluctant. Just embrace them. They're going to help you get what you want out of your dog. So I hope that helps. Any questions, you can always hit us up. And that's it. We're about to jump into some Indian, but I think I've got a quick bonus question. So this is
Kimberly.
Yeah. You're
This
gonna
is
read
literally a 60-second answer.
It might even be shorter.
Kimberly says, I have a 7-year-old lab who is a rescue dog. We have 3 acres with free-range ducks and guinea fowl. Recently, the dog started to get fat, and we had not had any eggs.
Evidence.
And yesterday, I caught her raiding the nest. She got a tap and a lot of growling voice and sent into the house. She got the message. I'm about to take her out with me to release the birds again, and we'll try some reinforcement, but I'm keen to hear any ideas you have.
Okay, Kimberly, real quick, because we're about to have an explosion on the set. So here's the deal. It sounds like you did a little Hi, buddy. What's wrong?
He's like, I'm hungry like you.
Hi. Everything okay? Are we all right?
He's getting bigger.
I know. It won't be long until we can share Air Force Ones. I've got really good ones for you that are barely even worn.
Are you serious?
Anyways, so Kimberly, here's the deal. It sounds like you got your dog on e-collar, and that's fantastic. You said you gave him a tap, and the dog, like, I think, moved away from the eggs or the nest or whatever he was doing. Here's my only advice. Make sure that correction next time, if it comes up again, is really significant. Don't mess around. You're not going to hurt your dog. You're not going to freak your dog out. You're not going to make your dog to where he's like terrified of the world. What you're going to do is go from management, which can be a lifetime thing of like, I always have to correct him because he keeps going after the eggs, or you create an inhibition or punishment or a correction that is significant enough for your dog to say, I don't want to mess with those eggs anymore. I would much rather you do 1 or 2 corrections at a higher level to where your dog leaves the eggs alone, and rather
I love that the dog is getting fat, and they're like, that's interesting, and we haven't had
fascinating
any eggs.
that right put 2 and 2 together. So let's go higher on the collar, let's not manage, let's get it done with, and let's move on from there, and then like let's enjoy some eggs.
Why not?
Guys, and then for some of the questions for last week that we didn't get to because we did the special New Year's thing, we're going to try and see if we can find a way to maybe like jump into some of that stuff.
Periscope or something like that.
We're going to get into it.
Yeah.
You ready to get out?
Yes.
Boom. Forrest, give me some of this.
Oh my God, he lifted his
almost
hand.
said, come on, give me some of that. All right. All right, buddy boy. Anyways, guys, we'll see you next week. Thanks so much for watching.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for the DVDs. Thanks for the book sales.
Yeah.
We appreciate you so much.
It's just going to add to all the fun. So,
books coming soon. See you soon.
Bye.